Jessica had been on the research vessel Odyssey Dawn for 3 months when the distress beacon lit up her console. The coordinates pointed to an uncharted moon in the Kepler 442 system, and protocol dictated investigation. Her partner Jack was already suiting up before she finished reading the report. Could be pirates, Jack warned, checking his plasma rifle's charge. Could be survivors, Jessica countered, grabbing the medical kit. The shuttle descended through violet clouds, landing near a crashed transport. The ship's hull bore scorch marks and the unmistakable claw signatures of a Vraxian raid. Jessica's stomach tightened. The Vraxians took no prisoners, only trophies. Inside the wreckage they found 3 bodies. Felnari traders by their blue fur and elongated limbs. Jessica whispered a prayer in their native tongue, something she'd learned during her xenolinguistics training. Then she heard it, a whimper, barely audible above the wind howling through the breached hull. "Jack," she breathed. Behind a collapsed bulkhead, huddled in a nest of shredded thermal blankets, were 3 Felnari cubs. Their eyes, too large for their small faces, reflected their flashlight beams like tiny moons. The largest couldn't have been more than 5 Earth years old. "They're terrified," Jack said softly, lowering his weapon. Jessica approached slowly, hands visible and empty. She clicked her tongue, a Felnari greeting. The cubs pressed closer together, their bioluminescent stripes flickering erratically along their spines. "Fear patterns, it's okay," she murmured. "We're not going to hurt you." The largest cub, a female with a notched ear, hissed defensively. Her siblings cowered behind her. Jessica sat down, making herself smaller, less threatening. She remembered her xenobiology instructor's words: Felnari are pack-bonded. They respond to caretaking behaviors. She pulled a ration bar from her pocket, broke it into pieces, and placed them on the ground between them. The cubs didn't move. Jack watched from the entrance, rifle ready, scanning for threats. "We need to move. Vraxians sometimes circle back." 5 minutes, Jessica said. She began humming, an old lullaby her grandmother used to sing. The melody filled the cold space. Slowly, imperceptibly, the cubs' stripes began to pulse in rhythm with the song, a calming pattern. The smallest cub crept forward, snatched a piece of ration bar, and scurried back. Then another. Finally, the guardian cub approached, sniffed Jessica's hand, and allowed herself to be touched. "Good," Jessica whispered. "That's good." Getting them to the shuttle took patience. Jessica carried the 2 smaller cubs while the eldest walked beside her, one paw gripping Jessica's jacket. Jack led the way, his eyes constantly scanning the darkening landscape. Back aboard the Odyssey Dawn, Jessica set up the cubs in the medical bay. They'd lost their parents, their home, everything. The trauma showed in their jerky movements and dilated pupils. They wouldn't eat the protein paste Jack offered, wouldn't drink water, wouldn't stop their high-pitched keening. "The database says Felnari cubs need specific conditions for rest," Jack said, reading from his tablet. "Temperature between 22-24 Celsius, low light, and physical security stimulus? They need to feel safe," Jessica translated. She thought about her own childhood, about cold nights and her mother's warmth. They need comfort. She adjusted the medical bay's temperature and dimmed the lights to a soft amber glow. Then she did something that made Jack raise his eyebrows. She grabbed her own blanket from her quarters, the heavy fleece one her sister had made, and brought it to the cubs. They watched her with wary eyes as she spread it over them, tucking it gently around their small bodies. The texture seemed to surprise them. Felnari didn't use blankets, their fur regulated temperature. But there was something about the weight, the softness, the deliberate act of covering that made their stripes shift to blue-green. Curious. Interested. Soft. The eldest whispered in broken common. "Why?" "It's called a blanket," Jessica said, sitting beside them. "Humans use them to feel safe when we sleep. To feel cared for." She lay down on the floor next to their makeshift nest, just close enough to be present but far enough to respect their space. Within minutes, the smallest cub had crawled partially onto her arm, then the middle one. The eldest remained alert, watching the door. "Sleep," Jessica murmured. "We'll keep watch." The eldest cub's eyes met hers. "Vraxians come. Not here. Not while we're here. Promise?" "Promise." Slowly, the guardian cub settled down, but her eyes stayed open. Jessica understood. This cub had been forced to grow up too quickly, to protect her siblings when adults should have done it. She recognized that burden. You did so well, Jessica told her. You kept them alive. You were so brave. The cub's stripes flickered. Pride, grief, exhaustion all mixed together. As the night shift began, Jessica felt the cub's breathing synchronize into sleep. Jack brought her a pillow and shook his head, smiling. You know they're going to be stuck to you now, right? Felnari bond intensely. Good, Jessica said simply. She must have dozed off because she woke to the gentlest sensation. The eldest cub carefully pulling the blanket up over Jessica's shoulders. The cub's small paws tucked it around her with surprising care, mimicking what Jessica had done hours before. Human cold? The cub whispered. Jessica's throat tightened. I'm okay. We guard now, the cub announced solemnly. She positioned herself between Jessica and the door, her siblings flanking her. 3 tiny sentinels barely knee-high, their stripes glowing fierce protective orange. Jack caught Jessica's eye from across the room. His expression said everything. This is why we do this. This is what humanity offers the galaxy. Not just superior weapons or faster ships, blankets, lullabies. The radical notion that the strong should comfort the weak, not exploit them. That survival wasn't just about fighting, it was about caring. Thank you, Jessica whispered to her small guardians. Sleep now. We'll take turns, but the cubs didn't sleep. They stayed awake through the night. 3 survivors who learned that when someone tucks you in with a blanket, you guard them back. Not because you have to, because that's what family does.